Welcome to my channel. My name is Vincent, and I am solely focused on personal development, giving you resources, value, information for you to grow, to become the best version of yourself. And I want to start today with something that I've just been going through is decisions. Decision. This is a excerpt from Bob Proctor on decision. It's something that caused me to start this channel and start this show to bring value to you in your life. It was a decision what started it all. And it was hard to make. I was unsure of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to make, what I wanted to put out. It was really hard. I wanted to do a show, podcast, YouTube channel, lifestyle, all different kinds of things, but I had to make a decision. And that's what I want to talk with you about today. Decision by Bob Proctor. There is a single mental move you can make, which in a millisecond will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter. And it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. We have a name for this magic mental activity. It is called decision. Decisions, or the lack of them, are responsible for the breaking or making of many a career. Individuals who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinions of others are the same people whose annual incomes fall into the 6 and 7 figure category. However, it's not just your income that is affected by decisions. Your whole life is dominated by this power. The health of your mind and body, the well-being of your family, your social life, the type of relationships you develop, all are dependent upon your ability to make sound decisions. You would think anything as important as decision-making, when it has such far-reaching power, would be taught in every school, but it is not. To compound the problem, not only is decision-making missing from the curriculum of our educational institutions, up until recently, it's also been absent from most of the corporate training and human resource programs available. So how is a person expected to develop this mental ability? Quite simply, you must do it on your own. However, I think it's important to understand that it's not difficult to learn how to make wise decisions. Armed with the proper information and by subjecting yourself to certain disciplines, you can become a very effective decision maker. They don't teach this in school. You have to figure out what decisions are best for you. And one thing to keep in mind, there is no right or wrong. The law of polarity states that there is a good and bad to everything. You just have to find whatever it is that you're looking for. If you want to find something that's bad in your life, you can find it. If you want to find something that's good in your life, you can find it. So that means there's really no good or bad. Our thinking makes it so. You can virtually eliminate conflict and confusion in your life by becoming proficient at making decisions. Decision-making brings order to your mind, and of course, this order is then reflected in your objective world, your results. James Allen may have been thinking of decisions when he wrote, "We think in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass." No one can see you making decisions, but they will almost always see the results of your decisions. The person who fails to develop their ability to make decisions is doomed, because indecision sets up internal conflicts which can, without warning, escalate into all-out mental and emotional wars. Psychiatrists have a name to describe these internal wars. It is ambivalence. My Oxford Dictionary tells me that ambivalence is the coexistence in one person of opposite feelings toward the same objective. That's what I struggled with. I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know if the podcast was the right way to go, the YouTube channel, the lifestyle, TikTok, all these different methods. I was focused on all these different things rather than just cutting through all of it and just making a decision. Because again, there is no right or wrong. Just take the step down that path and the next decision will come. But you have to be clear on your decisions. That's the hardest thing, is to be gridlocked by indecision, being indecisive. Oh, well, I could do this, but then there's this. Well, there's always going to be that. You just have to cut from that and just make a decision. That's what decision means. It means to cut from. You literally have to cut from the other idea and just make that decision and go with it. It's like Elon Musk. He literally decided to invest all of his profits from PayPal into Tesla and SpaceX. And he had to rent and sleep on the floor because he decided that's what he wanted. Now he's one of the richest men in the world. You just have to make a decision and just go. Keep going. Don't look back. It's all it comes down to. You do not require a doctorate degree in psychiatry to understand that you are going to have difficulty in your life by permitting your mind to remain in an ambivalent state for any period of time. And what does ambivalence mean? It means the coexistence of opposite feelings towards the same objective. The person who does not permit it to exist will become very despondent and virtually incapable of any type of productive activity. It is obvious that anyone who finds themselves in such a mental state is not living. At best, they are merely existing. A decision or a series of decisions would change everything. A very basic law of the universe is create or disintegrate. Indecision causes disintegration. How often have you heard a person say, I don't know what to do? How often have you heard of yourself say, what should I do? Think about some of the indecisive feelings you and virtually everyone on this planet experience from time to time. Think about it. It may be on the day-to-day, or it may be bigger decisions, life decisions, whether you should move, whether you should stay in that relationship. These are things that are driving your life constantly. The ability for you to make a decision will change your life dramatically. If you are able to make decisions promptly and quickly, that means decide and do not consider anything else. Just stick to what you're doing. That's all it is. Henry Ford producing the V8 engine, people told him that he could never do that. Well, he decided. And he decided he was going to see it through. That's all it is. It's just making a decision and seeing it through. Love them, leave them, quit, stay, do it, don't do it. Go to work, watch TV, buy it, don't buy it. Say it, don't say it. Everyone on occasion has experienced these feelings of ambivalence. If it happens to you frequently, decide right now to stop it. The cause of ambivalence is indecision, but we must keep in mind that the truth is not always in the appearance of things. Indecision is a cause of ambivalence. However, it is a secondary cause. It is not the primary cause. I have been studying the behavior of people who have become very proficient at making decisions for over a quarter century. They all have one thing in common. They have a very strong self-image, a high degree of self-esteem. They may be as different as night is to day in numerous other respects, but they certainly possess confidence. Low self-esteem or a lack of confidence is the real culprit here. Decision makers are not afraid of making an error. If and when they make an error in their decision or fail at something, they have the ability to shrug it off. They learn from the experience, but they will never submit to the failure. That was the biggest problem for me, was that I couldn't make a decision on what it is that I wanted to do. because I lacked belief. I lacked confidence in myself. Shoot, is this the right way for me to go? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is. Well, I was trying to find out what was the best thing for me to do. But you just have to do it. You just have to decide and go. That could be the best thing. That could be the best thing. You have to find out. You have to decide and find out. Being indecisive takes no place in your life. If you want to be successful, you have to be decisive and live with the results. That's what it's saying. That's what all highly successful people know. Elon Musk, Henry Ford, Steve Jobs. All these people are decisive. And they don't consider what they just cut from. They are going in this direction. They're going to see it through. And the other option is gone. It doesn't exist. I decided I was going to start this podcast, start this YouTube channel, and see it through. I made a decision. Before, I wasn't doing anything. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was caught up in ambivalence. Should I do this? Should I do that? I didn't want to take a step because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have that confidence. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to sit here and keep thinking of what I should do. I'm just going to start. And that's what happened. And that's why my first video today, is on decision, because it's played that much of an impact in my life to get me to this moment right now, to be sharing this information with you. And you may be struggling with something in your life. I don't know if I want to get this job or take this action or what I want to do. Just decide. You know what you want. Just decide and start. Otherwise, you're just going to be wasting time. I wasted a ton of time trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. I just needed to do it. You can weigh out the options forever. Just decide and move on, and you will find your way. I promise you. Every decision maker was either fortunate enough to have been raised in an environment where decision making was a part of their upbringing, or they developed the ability themselves at a later date. They are aware of something that everyone who hopes to live a full life must understand. Decision making is something you cannot avoid. That is the cardinal principle of decision making. Decide right where you are with whatever you've got. This is precisely why most people never master this important aspect of life. They permit their resources to dictate if and when a decision will or can be made. I'll say that again. They permit their resources to dictate if and when a decision will or can be made. When John Kennedy asked Wernher von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth, his answer was simple and direct: the will to do it. The will to do it. President Kennedy never asked if it was possible. He never asked if they could afford it, or any one of 1,000 other questions, all of which would have, at that time, been valid questions. President Kennedy made a decision. He said, "We will put a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the end of the decade." The fact that it had never been done before in all the hundreds of thousands of years of human history was not ever a consideration. He decided where he was with what he had. The objective was accomplished, and the objective was accomplished in his mind the second he made the decision. It was only a matter of time, which is governed by natural law, before the goal was manifested in form for the whole world to see. It was only a matter of time, which is governed by natural law, before the goal was manifested in form for the whole world to see. Think about that. How many people do you have to ask How many people do you have to ask before you make a decision? How many people do you need to talk to decide what it is that you want to do? Well, who's making that decision? You're not. Think about it. If you have to ask someone else, you're taking on whatever it is that they have to say about it, and then you're deciding. You don't need anyone else to make a decision for you in your life. This is your life. Make your own decisions. I was just hours ago in an office with 3 people. We were discussing the purchase of shares in a company. I was selling, they were buying. After a reasonable amount of time, one of the partners asked me when I wanted a decision. I replied, right now. I said, you already know what you want to do. There was some discussion about money. I pointed out that money had nothing to do with it. Once you make the decision, you will find the money every time. If that is the only benefit you receive from this particular message on decision making, burn it into your mind. What does Bob say here? Once you make the decision, you will find the money every time. If that is the only benefit you receive from this particular message on decision making, burn it into your mind. Once you make the decision, you will find the money. You will find the resources. You will find whatever it is that you need. Make the decision. That's all that matters. Once you make the decision, you'll find a way. You'll find it. It works every time. It will change your life. I explained to 2 of these people that I never let money enter my mind when I am deciding whether I will or will not do something. Whether I can afford it or not is never a consideration. Whether I want to or not is the only consideration. You can afford anything. There is an infinite supply of money. You can afford anything. There is an infinite supply of money. All of the money in the world is available to you when the decision is firmly made. If you need money, you will attract it. I am well aware there are any number of people who will say that is absurd. You can't just decide to do something if you do not have the necessary resources. And that's fine. If that is the way they choose to think, I see that as a very limiting way of thinking. In truth, it probably is not thinking at all. It is very likely an opinion being expressed that was inherited from another older member of their family who did not think either. Thinking is very important. Decision makers are great thinkers. Do you ever give much consideration to your thoughts, how they affect the various aspects of your life? Although this should be one of our most serious considerations, for many people it is not. There is a very small select few who make any attempt to control or govern their thoughts. Have you thought about the thoughts that you've engaged in? Are you thinking lack or are you thinking abundance? Because it's available to you right now. You don't need anything outside of you for you to feel abundant, for you to feel successful. That's the idea that you've bought into, is that you need something outside of you to make you feel a certain way. You don't. You can feel however you want to feel right now with whatever you have, with wherever you are in your life right now. I don't care if you're out in the street. You can choose to feel however you want to feel. That's the beautiful free will of thought that you have. Really think about that. Thinking is very important. Decision makers are great thinkers. Do you ever give much consideration to your thoughts? How they affect the various aspects of your life? Although this should be one of our most serious considerations, for many people it is not. There's a very small select few who make any attempt to control or govern their thoughts. Anyone who has made a study of the great thinkers, the great decision makers, the achievers of history, will know they very rarely agreed on anything when it came to the study of human life. However, there was one point on which they were in complete and unanimous agreement, and that was, we become what we think about. We become what we think about. Are you thinking that life is hard? Times are tough? It's hard for you to make money or make a lot of money? Well, that's what you're going to become. Think right now that you are successful. You have all the resources, all the tools within you to be successful and to live this life to the fullest. See yourself as you really want to see yourself. Don't be bound to what's going on right now in your life. That has nothing to do with how you see yourself. You can choose to see yourself however you want to see yourself right now with your imagination. Start to see yourself having, doing, being, whatever it is that you want. That's the freedom that you have. Why not? Why not see that right now? Sit down for 20 minutes. Close your eyes. Visualize and see yourself living the life that you really want to live. And feeling those emotions, feeling those feelings. Receiving the money that you want. Or the cars, or the lifestyle, or the house, or the relationship. Visualize yourself right now, because we become what we think about. So think about the things that you do want. Take 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a day aside to think about what it is that you really want and see yourself experiencing that. Because you may not be aware, but that's reprogramming your subconscious mind to feel those feelings and experience that reality. You will reprogram yourself to start to see yourself in a different light. When you see yourself, when you visualize yourself extremely confident, having a lot of money, very successful in what it is that you do, a high achiever in a great relationship, you see yourself as that, you start to believe it more and more. That's where you get confidence. That's where you start to believe in yourself. That's where you start to actually walk as it, talk as it. You're not as shy anymore because you visualize yourself over and over and over again as the person that you want to be. That's how you really change. That's how you reprogram your subconscious mind. So take 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour a day aside to really think and visualize and imagine you experiencing the life of your dreams, being successful, whatever it is that you want. Because I'm telling you right now, you don't need anything outside of you for you to feel those things. If you're waiting for something outside of you, those feelings are going to be contingent on that thing outside of you. But then when that thing's gone or taken away, you're not going to feel those feelings anymore. That's the victim mentality. You are a creator. You have infinite potential within you. When you recognize that, you recognize your true power. You don't need anything outside of you. I don't need money in a bank account for me to feel great about myself, feel confident and secure in the person that I am, and happy and proud of who I am. That's the misconception that the majority of society is bought into. But start right now to change that. We become what we think about. What do you think about? You and I must realize that our thoughts ultimately control every decision we make. You are the sum total of your thoughts. By taking charge this very minute, you can guarantee yourself a good day. Refuse to let unhappy, negative people or circumstances affect you. Refuse to let anything outside of you cause you to feel anything inside of you. That's the power that you have. The greatest stumbling block you will encounter when making important decisions in your life is circumstance. We let circumstance get us off the hook when we should be giving it everything we've got. More dreams are shattered and goals lost because of circumstance than any other single factor. How often have you caught yourself saying, I would like to do or have this, but I can't because? Whatever follows because is the circumstance. Circumstances may cause a detour in your life, but you should never permit them to stop you from making important decisions. Napoleon said, circumstances, I make them. The next time you hear someone say they would like to vacation in Paris or purchase a particular automobile, but they can't because they have no money, explain they don't need the money until they make a decision to go to Paris or purchase the car. When the decision is made, they will figure out a way to get the amount needed. They always do. Many misguided individuals try something once or twice, and if they do not hit the bullseye, they feel they are a failure. Failing does not make anyone a failure, but quitting most certainly does. And quitting is a decision. It's a decision. By following that form of reasoning, you would have to say when you make a decision to quit, you make a decision to fail. Every day in America, you hear about a baseball player signing a contract which will pay him a few $1,000,000 a year. Well, nowadays, a couple $100 million a year. You should try to keep in mind that same player misses the ball more often than he hits it when he steps up to the plate. Everyone remembers Babe Ruth for the 714 home runs he hit, and they rarely mention that he struck out 1,330 times. Charles F. Kettering said, and I quote, when you're inventing, if you flunk 999 times and succeed once, you're in. That is true of just about any activity you can name, but the world will soon forget your failures in light of your achievements. Don't worry about failing. It will toughen you up and get you ready for your big win. Winning is a decision. Just don't stop. Many years ago, Helen Keller was asked if she thought there was anything worse than being blind. She quickly replied that there was something much worse. She said, the most pathetic person in the world is a person who has their sight but no vision. And I agree with Helen Keller. At 91, J.C. Penney was asked how his eyesight was. He replied that his sight was failing, but his vision had never been better. That is really great, isn't it? When a person has no vision of a better way of life, they automatically shut themselves in a prison. They limit themselves to a life without hope. This frequently happens when a person has seriously tried on a number of occasions to win, only to meet with failure time after time. Repeated failures can damage a person's self-image and cause them to lose sight of their potential. They therefore make a decision to give up and resign themselves to their fate. Take the first step in predicting your own prosperous future. Build a mental picture of exactly how you would like to live. Make a firm decision to hold on to that vision, and positive ways to improve everything will begin to flow into your mind. Take time aside to visualize, to use your imagination, see yourself how you really want to live, and hold to that image. And you will get all the positive ways of realizing it. But the second that you step out to act, that's when the fear, all the doubt kicks in, and it stops you. It's called the terror barrier. You have to break through that. It may take you some time to break through that, but it's going to be well worth it, and you're going to achieve your goal. What did Wernher von Braun say to JFK about building a rocket, taking a man to the moon, and returning him to Earth? How do we do that? He said the will to do it. All it takes is the will to do it. You just have to be willing to do it. Not accept failure. Don't quit. It's a decision. Just continue. You're going to win. You're going to succeed. It's a matter of time. That's it. It's a matter of time. So relax. You're on your way. Many people get a beautiful vision of how they would like to live, but because they cannot see how they're going to make it all happen, they let the vision go. If they knew how they were going to get it or do it, they would have a plan, not a vision. There is no inspiration in a plan, but there sure is in a vision. When you get the vision, freeze frame it with a decision and don't worry about how you will do it or where the resources will come from. Freeze frame the vision. Make a decision to freeze frame it. And don't worry about how you will do it or where the resources will come from. Charge your decision with enthusiasm. That is important. Refuse to worry about how it will happen. That's what they're all saying. Just figure out the what and the why. What is it that you want? Why do you want it? Let go of the how. You're not supposed to try and figure out the how. If you try and figure out the how, you're going to be stuck with indecision because you're trying to figure out how it's going to happen. That's none of your business. Leave that up to a higher power. Just know what it is that you want and why you want it. Advanced decision making. We make advanced bookings when we fly somewhere. That is quite common. We make advanced reservations to eliminate confusion or problems when the time arrives for the journey. We do the same thing with renting a car for the same reason. You plan in advance. You make decisions in advance. Think of the problems you will eliminate by making many of the decisions you must make well in advance. I'll give you an excellent example. As I'm preparing this message, it is Ramadan, a time where all practicing Muslims fast. I was in an office yesterday in Kuala Lumpur and was asked if I would like a cup of tea or coffee. I replied that I would appreciate a cup of tea. The lady next to me was then asked if she would like a cup of coffee, and she replied, "No, I'm fasting." When she was asked, she did not have to decide whether she wanted anything or not. Whether she was thirsty or not was not a consideration. A decision had previously been made, and her advanced decision was well tempered with discipline. When she was asked if she wanted a cup of coffee, she said no right away. She didn't even consider it because she knew that that's what she was doing. She was fasting. The exact same concept works with a person when they are on a diet to release weight. Their decisions are made in advance. If they are offered a big slice of chocolate cake, they don't have to say, "Gee, that looks good. I wonder if I should." The decision is made in advance. They're not going to do it. I made a decision a long time ago that I would not participate in discussions of why something cannot be done. The only compensation you will ever receive for participating in or giving energy to that type of discussion is something you do not want. I always find it amazing at the number of seemingly intelligent people who persist in dragging you into these negative brainstorming sessions. In one breath, these people tell you they seriously want to accomplish a particular objective, and in the next breath, they begin talking about why they can't. Think of how much more of life they would enjoy by making a decision that they would no longer participate in that type of negative energy. The humanistic psychologist Dr. Abraham Maslow, who devoted his life to studying self-actualized people, stated very clearly that we should follow our inner guide and not be swayed by the opinion of others or outside circumstances. Maslow's research showed that the decision makers in life had a number of things in common. Most importantly, they did work they felt was worthwhile and important. They found work a pleasure, and there was little distinction between work and play. Dr. Maslow said, to be self-actualized, you must not only be doing work you consider to be important, you must do it well and enjoy it. Dr. Maslow recorded that these superior performers had values, those qualities in their personalities they considered to be worthwhile and important. Their values were not imposed by society, parents, or other people in their lives. they did make their own decisions. Like their work, they chose and developed their values themselves. Your life is important, and at its best, life is short. You have the potential to do anything you choose and to do it well, but you must make decisions. And when the time for a decision arrives, you must make your decision where you are with what you've got. Let me leave you with the words of two great decision makers, William James and Thomas Edison. William James suggested that compared to what we ought to be, we are making use of only a small part of our physical and mental resources. Stating this concept broadly, the human individual thus lives far within his limits. He possesses powers of various sorts which he habitually fails to use. Years later, Thomas Edison said, and I quote, "If we all did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves by making a simple decision. By making a simple decision, the greatest minds of the past are available to you. You can literally learn how to turn your wildest dreams into reality. Put this valuable information to use and recognize the greatness which exists within you. You have limitless resources of potential and ability waiting to be developed. Start today. There's never any time better than the present. Be all that you are capable of being." And that starts right now. That was amazing. On decision, how important decision is in our lives. I really like the part by Dr. Maslow where he was saying that we should follow our inner guide and not be swayed by the opinion of others or outside circumstances. Follow your inner guide. Do not be swayed by others, outside circumstances. That's so key to all of this. Just try that out today. Start to listen to yourself more. Make your own decisions. You're going to be fine. I know that you've maybe habitualized asking someone in your life to help you. But the more that you make your own decisions, the better off you will be. Because it's your own life you're dealing with. This is your life. Make your own decisions with the best that you've got right now. With the best that you've got at that time. Make the best decision that you can and go with it. Napoleon Hill wrote in his book, Think and Grow Rich, after analysis of several hundred people who accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark, stated the fact that they all made decisions promptly and changed those decisions, if at all, very slowly, if and when they changed them. But people who failed to accumulate fortunes all had the habit of reaching decisions very slowly and changed those decisions very often. So decision making can literally change your life. If you make decisions promptly, you cut from and you go with that decision, you will see success in your life. It's literally disclosing the fact from Napoleon Hill's study, all the men and women who accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark all made decisions promptly and changed those decisions very slowly, if and when they changed them. They just went with it. Just go with it. Hesitating, thinking of what the best thing to do is it's taking a lot of time. And I'm sure it's taking a lot of time and it's causing you not to act. That's what it was for me. Before I even made this video, made this channel, I was very indecisive. Is this what I should do? Is this what I should Is this what I should do? Is this what I should do? I don't know. But I decided right then, at that moment, after reading this yesterday, I decided, you know what? I'm going to start. I'm being way too indecisive. I'm going to put this to practice, put this to work in my life. And I did. And here I am sharing this with you, bringing you some benefit, some value in your life. And I hope that you take this and make decisions more clearly, like Dr. Abraham Maslow said, that we should follow our inner guide and not be swayed by the opinion of others or outside circumstances. That's what it comes down to. This is your life. Make your own decisions, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace. And I'll see you on the next video.